What's up, world? Welcome to the Shift Change Podcast, and I am the real Spanky Foster. Some call me the Trill, the real Spanky Foster. Why they call me the real Spanky Foster? Hey, because hey, I'm real at what I do. You know what I'm saying? I mean, like I talk a lot of shit, and then I back it up. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm a a street DJ, club DJ, radio DJ turned uh, real estate developer. So like a lot of DJs, they'll promote an event and make it sound so big and spectacular, and oh, I'm doing this and I'm doing that, and then get down to the bottom of it, they're just doing the same old song and dance. You know what I'm saying? Like, so the real Spanky Foster, the proof is in the pudding. I mean, like you can uh drive down Highway 30, go back through Etta, and just look at the real estate developments and how I have changed the scenery. And hey, but like, hey, that's just why they call me the real. You know what I'm saying? Like if I'm talking shit about something, hey, like Lord bless it. I say it like that. Lord bless it. Like it's coming. And this is what happened with the purchase of Shift Change. Okay, let's take you back. Um, about 2015, I had been running the 30 Center for about 6 7 years. It was going successful with the foreign clientele, but being a nightclub located on the main highway, and like the legalities of things, when the state troopers got involved, at the time I had like four foreign girls, beautiful girls. They would pool their money together. It was so beautiful. They would pool their money together, and they would rent the place on the weekend. So they got to where they would miss a week and then come back for about 2 weeks and then miss a week. And I'm like, hey, what's going on? And oh, Mr. Spanky. And they told me, they ran it down, that the state troopers had got a hold of the operation. Like they had knowledge of the operation. You think about it, I was running a nightclub like on the open highway. Like you think about Highway 30 between Oxford and New Albany, and from like 10 p.m. till 4 a.m. in the morning, we had a big sign with flashing lights and arrows saying 30 Center. So hey, you know, so when the state troopers got involved, I knew it was coming. I didn't know when, and like, hey, like I was cool to get along for that many years without any interference. So at this point, this is when I started thinking about other ventures, and I had always had a fondness for the shift change area because it was the center of attention. You know, on Highway 30 and pretty much the rest of town. You know, Shift Change was a pool hall that existed like in the its heyday. Probably was like the 70s, 80s, and early 90s. Oxford, Mississippi. Picture it, Oxford, Mississippi. Right outside of the city limits. Like on the main highway. Well, after the pool hall was torn down, I guess around the mid '90s. Uh, Generations of young people would still gather on the property. And then like even me, like shit. Back in the day, you get your paycheck. What's your stop gonna be? The car wash, get the white walls clean, and then stop by Shift Change, get served on, pop on your park lights. You gotta turn your park lights on. You know what I'm saying? Like especially if it's in the evening time. Hey, and I'll say this: every vehicle that I have ever driven, I parked at Shift Change. I get a new car. Hey, I park it at Shift Change at some point. Let everybody know. You know what I'm saying? Like what you riding in. You know what I'm saying? Like that was just the thing when I was coming up. you know. And so, um, enough about the history for now. So you know that this is a popular place. You know, Shift Change is a popular place. Juice here. So that's why I wanted it. Hey, but the idea was so crazy until like the people around me, you know, like or whoever I shared the idea with was like, oh, okay, he's you know, you don't have the money for it. You don't know if the place is for sale or not. You don't know who owns the place though. But you know, like so. But that's when the idea was planted. You know, I had talked to uh Gene Gullick. You remember the Gullicks over in Union County? I was talking to Gene one day, and he said, "Well, the thing he had sold his business, and he said the thing about it is when business gets slow, business gets bad. You the owner of the place, you can always sell it. You know, like that's what he did. You know, hey, business got bad. Shoot, hey, I sold the place. You know, get into something else. You know, and that was the thing you know. That's what you call flipping real estate. You know what I'm saying? Like, this property right here is not what it used to be, or something. You know, like, or in my case, you know, like, hey, the state troopers done pretty much shut me down. You know, like, so hey, it's something else. You know, like, hey, got to find something else to hustle on. So my conversation being shift changed. It was just so wild. You know. So let's fast forward. Okay, that was in 2015. So around 2016, the beginning of 2016, I moved to Murfreesboro, Tennessee. And my first job working at Nissan, the Nissan plant, which was in Smyrna, Tennessee. And every day I would get off work, I would go to the library because at the time I didn't have like a smartphone with all the different apps and important stuff like that. So I would go to the library, get on the computer, and I would look up uh, maps of Highway 30. I went, you know, like, well, it was. I used the same formula when I bought the property that I had the nightclub running on. Uh, I used the same formula. Hey, I gotta go. I gotta get in these land records. You know, like see who owns what. You know, so I was doing the same thing for the shift change, pretty much. You know, like I was looking up who owns property, who owns this, and I never could make it out. You know, like I'm writing letters to people, looking up people that live no telling where now, and but you know, hey, I was persistent with it, and so fast forward maybe a year later. Y'all keeping up with the years? Okay. What would that be like? Maybe 2017. Okay. I'm sitting in church in Nashville, Tennessee, under Bishop Joseph Walker at the Mount Zion Church, and he says, "Ask God for something wild, like a child on Christmas. Ask talking to Santa Claus, a child talking to their mom and daddy, just something wild. Oh, I want a giraffe." But you know what? You gotta believe it. Okay, and so like I was like, Lord, I want shift change. Okay, and I believed it. Okay. So at the time, I was working on a radio station in Nashville on the weekend playing gospel music. Remember what hip hop is to Atlanta, gospel music is to Nashville. So I'm in the right place, you know. Like I'm on the radio, you know, like different celebrities on the same station with me, Bobby Jones, and you know, and going to different events and stuff like that, and who else famous? But okay, well, one night I was looking at my Facebook, and for some reason it blinked out. I don't know why, and so like, hmm, I had to go back what I was used to because I wasn't, you know, like so. I was just like on Facebook every day. You know what I'm saying? So, uh, that was what I did. You know, so when the Facebook blinked out, I went to looking up real estate. You know, well, that's what I would do before I got into Facebook. I would just Google and real estate, and so how about I see a property I recognize. Been seeing this property all of my life. Had no sign on it, but it was for sale. Would you believe it was shift change? No one knew the property was for sale, it being that it had no sign on it saying that this place is for sale. And so I hopped on it. I built on it, like I redeveloped the area. Now, this is interesting here. I had put out radio commercials. Hey, this is Spanky Foster, you know what I'm saying? And when I left the heart of Dixie, I was told that I never would do business in North Mississippi again, but my Lord said differently. You heard the commercials. Okay. So that's about the time that I had the bulldozers coming through and doing their thing and knocking out trees and stuff like that and leveling things up or whatever. Uh, my brother called me that evening. It was like, Spank, you got to see this. And I was like, see what? I mean, like, as long as it ain't no big, structural something that they run into, like a tree that wouldn't move or some shit like that. What? He was like, you got to see this. Okay. Long story short, the property had been here so long as a gathering place for young adults that think about over the years people drinking bottled beer, drinking whiskey, and then just pitching it into the vacant lot. Even though all of the trees and brush and debris was pushed away, and you got to think about how deep a bulldozer goes. There was a sea of glass. I come out of Nashville, I looked at the property, and there was a sea of glass. All you could see was broken glass, you know. And until this day, whenever I dig, for something like put a sign up in the yard or something like that, uh, about maybe a foot or so into it, hey, ain't nothing but broken glass. But that lets you know the reputation of the property being a well known place. Okay, so but just the idea of buying shift change was so challenging to the point whereas like the joke was, oh, so what you gonna do, you gonna buy up there by Hick, get up there side of Hick. Oh, and it was funny. And so like I pretty much dropped the idea. Like I said, I dropped the idea. I didn't drop the idea. I dropped the conversation of the idea with certain people because it was just killing it. So killing, like it was just tearing it down. So I kept it to myself, but I always would be googling or studying, like how can I get to this property? Okay, well the conversation came up from like Mississippi folks. Well, you're in Nashville, you're on the radio. Why don't you buy a nightclub up there, or buy you some property up there and open up a nightclub? Well, I was hesitant on that because like I didn't know the politics of the city, didn't know the politics of the police, and I knew politicians because I interviewed them on the radio up there, but I just didn't know enough about the system well enough to just hop into it like that. But I did pursue going to the bank, uh, not to borrow money, but to just tell me, hey, show me some properties around town. And so he got on the computer and showing me stuff, like that I could afford. And the banker, foreign guy, he said, "Where are you from?" I said, Oxford, Mississippi. He said, "Oh, Miss." He said, "Why are you not trying to buy property down there?" I said, "Actually, I want to, but everybody just tells me that the idea is just crazy, you know." And I explained to him the situation that Highway 30 is very diverse in the sense that you come down the street, you see expensive home, well-to-do, expensive. Then get to a certain point, just a small point, and you see working class. So it's like uh, nice home, nice, expensive home, expensive home, uh, working class, expensive. You know, and I'm looking at the value, and that like just because this small portion of Highway 30 right here, you know, is working class. Look at the rest of the surroundings. Okay, and so the guy gets on the computer and he looks up Highway 30, and he sees Oxford, Ole Miss, and the campus, and he's looking at on a map, and he sees the strip going down, through the intersection about Little John. He's looking at the intersection, like I'm telling him, okay, this intersection, I didn't specifically say shift change, but I'm looking at this intersection, and he says, you know what? Pay those people no mind because uh, this is a good idea. You got to look at the movie, how close the movie theater is to Highway 30. You got to look at all of these $200,000 homes, these subdivisions, the houses on the highway. You look across the street from Shift Change. Look at the biggest gas station on Highway 30 between Oxford and New Albany. And the guy says, Mr. Foster, you have the money to do it. And if I was you, I'd hop on this. You know. But like I say, lo and behold, uh, uh, as time went on, like I told the story, like my Facebook had went out, and then I saw where the property was for sale. Praise God. Yeah. Let's talk about this. Like I say, Shift Change had a reputation, and the reason I winded up moving back to Mississippi was to help change that reputation. I mean, like Shift Change was hardcore back in the, like especially after the pool hall. You know, well, I can talk about what I know. You know what I'm saying? Like from my generation. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, you know what I'm saying? Like it was hardcore. You know what I'm saying? Like just it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like drug dealing, pimps hustling, uh, prostitution. Hey, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Okay. So when I read bought the spot that I have, I redeveloped it. Like I bought the vacant lot, I built on it, leased it out. Okay, I'm in Nashville, but everyone that was leasing the property, pretty much, it, I had one tenant, a, a young lady. I'm not gonna call her name, but she was such a sweetheart. Like, hey, oh wow, you know. But I'm just saying, like most of the people that was renting the location were carrying riffraff, and they was making the spot be what it was in its heyday. You going down the road, see like 4, 5 brothers standing out, you know what I'm saying, like doing whatever, like. And so I'm on the radio in Nashville. Like I say, uh I was on the board of Tennessee, the radio Hall of Fame. Okay. I had to come back to Mississippi to save the property. And that's it, you know. Okay. Moving back to Mississippi was hard in the sense that, oh, what he doing back here? Like that boy must have got to the city and got on that shit. You know what I'm saying? No, like my realtor said, like, hey, uh, you had to come back for your property. And people can say what they want, but you look at hardcore money, hardcore value. The When I had a real estate license at the particular time, the president of the Realtors Association for North Mississippi lived right out in front of the shift change area. And because like my conversation to her was, "Hey, I run a place down on Highway 30. They call it the 30 Center." And she was like, "Oh, I live on Highway 30. I live across from shift change." Let's talk real money now, value now. This particular lady being the president of the Realtors Association, meaning that if you had a real estate license in North Mississippi, you had to answer to her. She knows property, knows the value of property, and lives across the street from the shift change area. I was talking to someone. What I'm getting at is that people put the area down because of its reputation, but you got to look at the value and the location. I was talking to Tina Gooseby. He had stopped by my place. We were talking some business, and I told him, I said, "Okay, Tina Gooseby, downtown Oxford, Mississippi, property owner, big time, you know, millionaire in his own right." You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, well, it is, like you own property downtown Mississippi, you automatically a billionaire. And so I told him, I said, "Mr. Gooseby, I said, how is it that uh, uh, certain folks are putting down my property? A lot of them, a lot people in the community." I said, "Look across the street." I said, "You see that gas station?" I said, "Look how many pumps that gas station has. Look the size of that gas station." I said, "Now you look, okay, that gas station across the street, you look to the property to the left of me, another major gas station adjacent to my property." So I'm like, look at the value of that gas station. How many millions of dollars was poured into building that gas station across the street from me? How many millions of dollars are in this gas station right next to me? Not to count the pizza parlor, the dollar store that I can see. That I mean, like, that's within walking. I told Mr. Gooseby, I said, "How is that we can see that gas station and understand the value of it in the proximity to the shift change property, but they can't see it and understand the value?" Mr. Gooseby told me, he said, "Spanky, those people don't think like me and you." He said, when they dream, all they see is what is it, twinkles and stars. Some people can't think. All they looking at is, oh, that's the place where they used to sell dope at. That's the place where the hoes used to stand out at. Hey, I hope nobody don't get offended and be like, "Oh, he said where the hoes used to stand out at." You know what I'm saying? But just like this shit, pussy was sold. Shit. Come on now. But we may have to do this in two parts because this one has ran 24 minutes. So we're gonna come back with a second part to shift change. I'm the real Spanky Foster. What's up? What's up, world?